There comes a moment when even silence screams judgment. Not in words, not in noise, but in the stillness after everything has already been said, and nothing has changed. A shadow has fallen over ancient lands, not the shadow of an eclipse or the dimming of daylight, but the shadow of reckoning. Where prophets once walked barefoot in obedience, missiles now tear through sacred air. Where oil once flowed as anointing, it now spills in fire. You feel the shift, even if you pretend not to. You scroll past the footage of sirens in Tel Aviv, the trembling dust over Damascus, the blinding flashes in the skies over Tehran. But deep in your bones, something flinches, not because of fear, but because your spirit remembers something your flesh forgot. The ground is groaning, the heavens are testifying, and Israel's strike on Iran is not just military, it is memory, it is prophecy, it is the consequence of altars desecrated, covenants mocked, and scrolls unread. This is not the beginning of war, it is the beginning of revelation. And you, yes, you, are not here by accident, not watching this by coincidence. You've been pulled into a conversation older than empires, drawn into a storm that was written in the stars before your name was ever spoken. This moment demands witnesses, not just analysts, not just viewers. Witnesses. People who will not just see, but discern. Not just listen, but respond. If you can feel that truth crawl under your skin and still won't subscribe, if you can sit in this fire and not be moved to stay, then write your excuse in the comments. Confess it to the scroll, because the watchmen are few, and the gates are trembling. You are not powerless, you are not too late, you are not misinformed, unworthy or out of place. That voice that told you you're just an observer, a lie. That whisper that said you're too small for a war this large, false. You are a watchman, a vessel of fire, a witness to the unraveling of timelines the prophets only dreamed of seeing. You were not born into peace, but into purpose. This is not coincidence. This is calling. This hour, this very hour, is what your spirit was wired for before your body ever breathed. You were born into a prophetic timeline, not by accident, not by chance, but by ordination. You do not need a platform. You do not need a title. You need eyes that see and ears that hear, and a spine that does not fold when Babylon demands your silence. This war is not about land. This is not about oil. This is not about alliances, treaties, or weapons. This is about altars and idols. It is about who still bows and who stands. The strike against Iran is not a surprise to heaven. It is not a geopolitical footnote. It is a spiritual alarm. And you were not called to scroll past it. You were called to stand in the tension, to read between the blasts and hear the trumpet in the smoke. You think this is just news? This is divine unveiling. This is the peeling back of veils, the opening of seals, the rumble before the next shaking. You are not too broken, not too old, not too late. You are a witness with breath still in your lungs and revelation still in your hands. You were not meant to hide. You were meant to howl, to weep, to warn. If you hear this and it doesn't wake you, you're not asleep, you're numb. And numbness in the face of prophecy is a dangerous thing. You see the signs, you feel the urgency, and still, you won't subscribe? Then comment below. Defend your silence. Explain your indifference to a world on fire. You think the danger is only in the missiles. You think the threat is only in the tanks and treaties. But the greatest danger is subtle. It slips past gates with a smile. It sings lullabies while fires burn outside your window. Distraction, that glowing rectangle in your hand. It's not just technology, it's anesthesia. While cities smolder, you scroll. While angels stand at attention, you're watching another reel. The war cries of heaven are drowned out by the volume of entertainment, and you wonder why you feel numb. It's because your spirit has been sedated. Neutrality. The safest lie hell ever sold. I'll just stay out of it. But silence in a spiritual war is not neutrality. It is surrender. You don't get to choose whether or not to be in this war. You only get to choose which side you stand on. To say nothing while kingdoms clash is to let darkness speak without resistance. Comfort, the soft idol, the one that whispers, "Don't stir the waters. Don't offend. Just pray quietly and stay safe." But the prophets never stayed safe. John cried in the wilderness. Jeremiah wept in the ruins. Jesus overturned tables. If your Christianity cost you nothing, you're not following Christ. You're following convenience. Cynicism, the plague of the modern believer. The reflex to mock, to roll your eyes when someone says, "God showed me." To dismiss prophecy because you saw a fraud once. And in doing so, you crucify the true with the false. You laugh at Noah while the rain begins to fall. Misidentification, calling it politics, so you don't have to face the spiritual demand. So you don't have to pray. So you don't have to weep. So you don't have to change. But prophetic judgment does not wear party colors. It's not left or right. It's holy or unholy. You call it Israel versus Iran. God calls it clash of altars. And if you miss that, you will watch prophecy unfold and think it's just history. Remember Lot's wife. She turned for one last look and became a monument to divided hearts. Remember Saul. He feared the people more than God and lost the kingdom. Remember Samson. He played with his calling until he woke up blind. You think you're safe because the missiles haven't hit your city? You think you're exempt because your church is still open and your pantry is still full? The real war is already in your house. It's already in your phone, in your language, in your compromise. And still, you feel the fire of this word. You hear the trumpet trembling in the wind, and yet you won't subscribe. If this woke something in you, you know what to do. But if you don't, why are you resisting the trumpet? Type your reason. Let the record show why you chose silence. You are not a spectator. You are positioned. You think you're on the sidelines, but heaven has no bleachers, only battlegrounds. And you were not placed here to observe. You were placed to stand, to intercede, to declare. You are not random, not expendable, not just one person. You are a living stone in the wall, a gap filler between what is and what must be. The reason the enemy fights you so hard is because he sees what you carry. This is not a drill, not a dress rehearsal, not another moment in history. This is sacred timeline, and you were woven into it with blood and fire. Esther didn't choose the timing. She didn't orchestrate the crisis. But she heard the weight in Mordecai's words. Who knows if you were born for such a time as this? And something rose in her that wasn't fear. It was fire. Moses wasn't young. He wasn't eloquent. He wasn't ready. But the burning bush didn't ask for credentials. It asked for obedience. And so does this moment. You've prayed for revival. Now it's calling your name. You've asked for signs. Now they're blazing across the earth. You said you wanted to be used. Then why are you hiding? This is not your retirement. It's your refinement. This is not the season to fold. This is the hour to burn, to shed the layers of comfort and put on the full armor. Because passive faith will not survive prophetic fire. Israel's move is not just a headline. It's a hinge of history. It's the echo of ancient scrolls being unsealed. Every explosion, every whisper of war, every trembling alliance is not just politics. It's prophecy in motion. You either see it or you scroll past it. You either respond or you go quiet. But let this be clear. Those who burn with conviction will be seen, and those who cave to comfort will be forgotten. There is no middle ground in the shaking. There is no neutral in a holy collision. You will either rise or retreat. You will either prophesy or apologize. You will either roar or wither. This is not a message for the lukewarm. This is for the ones whose bones have started to stir, who feel the pressure but know it's not the enemy. It's the call of heaven. You carry more than feelings. You carry authority. The same Spirit that raised Christ dwells in you, not to decorate you, but to deploy you. Speak the word. Declare the truth. Pray like the earth is cracking. Worship like chains are falling. And live like your life is a war cry against the gates of hell. Still not subscribed? Still silent while prophecies roar? Still watching from a distance while the trumpet shakes the sky? Then speak up, or tell us why you won't. Let the silence testify if you choose not to. Let your no be sacred. In a world addicted to appeasement, where silence masquerades as love and truth is trimmed to fit fragile egos, you must be different. You must be holy, not perfect, holy, set apart. Cut from a cloth that doesn't stretch for culture, woven from a thread that doesn't fray under pressure. Consecration is not optional in an hour like this. The oil in your lamp, it is everything. Guard it. Guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. You cannot run on borrowed conviction. You cannot wait for public approval to obey God. You cannot dilute truth to maintain peace with people who despise the cross. Let your yes be to God alone, and let your no be an altar, an offering of boundaries, a declaration that your vessel is not for casual use. This is not the time to blend in. This is the time to burn. And yes, you will be misunderstood. You will be labeled too intense, too serious, too spiritual, by those too asleep to see the hour. But you are not here to be liked. You are here to be light. You are not here to smooth edges. You are here to sharpen swords. You are not here to entertain the world. You are here to confront it with love that cuts deeper than flattery ever could. Stop apologizing for your clarity. Stop shrinking to fit circles you've outgrown. Stop dressing down your discernment to make lukewarm hearts feel better about their compromise. Smaller circles, stronger fire. God is not reducing your reach. He's refining your radius. He's bringing you back to the upper room, where few gather but fire falls. The prophets have never been popular. Not in the temple, not in the streets, not even in their own homes. They were misjudged before they were remembered, mocked before they were honored, rejected before they were vindicated. So don't chase understanding from people who've never heard the voice that summoned you in the night. Don't trade your mantle for a platform. Don't sell your inheritance for applause. Stand, speak, separate, even if it costs you comfort, company, or credibility. Because heaven is not measuring your success by numbers, but by obedience. Not by how loud your name echoes in rooms, but by how clearly your spirit echoes in eternity. This is the moment where lines are drawn. This is the moment where heaven asks, will you be found faithful or familiar? Will you carry weight or chase relevance? Will you consecrate or compromise? The hour is late, but it's not too late if you still choose fire over fog. So here's the question again. You're still listening, but not aligning, still stirred but unmoved. Either subscribe now or confess below why you're comfortable with lukewarm silence. Let your comment be your altar or your excuse. Look at your hands. They may seem ordinary, weathered, tired, maybe even trembling from the weight of life. But in the spirit, they are building. They are laying bricks. Invisible to men, undeniable in heaven. Brick by brick, decision by decision, you are building a wall around your lineage. Not of stone, but of fire. Not of fear, but of legacy. A spiritual wall of remembrance that says to hell itself, you cannot have my bloodline. This war, don't be deceived, isn't just about borders and leaders. It's about altars and inheritance. It's about what's being built in secret and what's being passed down without words. You think your prayers vanish? Your tears are stored, your obedience is recorded, and your yes, even whispered in private, shifts timelines. You don't need a pulpit to preach. Your consistency preaches. Your refusal to bow to compromise preaches. Your hidden life of integrity preaches louder than any viral clip ever could. You may feel small, but in heaven, your alignment is seismic. You're not just raising children, you're raising arrows. Sons and daughters designed to pierce darkness in a day you may never see, but they will. And they will walk in the fires you kept burning, or the ashes you left behind. If you don't choose fire now, they will fight smoke later. If you don't build the altar, they'll inherit the battlefield. This is about generational accountability. What you say yes to now sets the stage for what your grandchildren will either conquer or bow to. And don't tell me you love them if you won't fight for them in the spirit. Don't tell me you want them covered if you won't cover yourself in obedience. You are the tipping point. You are the hinge of history in your family, not your pastor, not a politician. You are the watchman. You are the breaker. You are the bridge. Prophetic people don't live for applause. They live for echoes. They live for the sound of eternity nodding in agreement when no one else will. Your yes isn't just for now. It's for 100 years from now. You're standing in the middle of Abraham's yes, David's tears, Esther's courage, and your grandmother's intercession. Someone in your bloodline dreamed of this moment, that you would be the one to rise, to stop the cycle, to break the curse, to end the wandering, to build what no one before you had the tools to finish. And maybe they didn't know how. But you do. So what are you waiting for? You say you want your children protected, but won't subscribe to the call of the hour? You want covering, but won't commit to consecration? You're delaying obedience while asking for immediate answers? Comment below. What's holding you back from saying yes to God with your whole life? Let the comment section be your reckoning or your refusal, but know this. Your ceiling becomes your children's floor, your obedience becomes their oxygen, and your fire becomes their foundation. Choose well, because legacy is not written in ease. It is carved by obedience in the dark. The silence is over. The season of casual faith is done. This is not a rehearsal. This is not a drill. This is the reckoning. You are not waiting on revival. Revival is waiting on you. You have prayed for fire. Now walk into it. You have asked for power. Now step into your authority. You have cried out for purpose. Now take up your mantle. There is no plan B. You are God's answer to the groaning of this hour. He placed you here now in this generation, on this battlefield, because he knew you would not fold. Not when others flee, not when darkness rages, not when your name is dragged or your motives misunderstood, because your calling was not voted on. It was spoken by the breath of God before time began. Let them call you too intense. Let them say you've changed. Let them walk away. You weren't built for their comfort. You were born for confrontation. Holy confrontation. Righteous resistance. The kind that tears veils and topples idols. Your prayers are not weak. They are weapons. Your tears are not wasted. They are oil on the altar. Your faith is not fragile. It is a hammer breaking generational chains with every step you take. This world is not your home, but you are heaven's ambassador on its soil. You don't retreat. You don't blend in. You stand, even if you're the only one, even if your voice trembles, even if no one claps, even if every demon in hell snarls at your feet, you stand. Because you carry something this age cannot cancel. Truth, eternal, unyielding, unchanging. And that truth is not just meant to be whispered in churches, but shouted in streets, spoken in boardrooms, breathed into families, and lived with such fire that compromise can't survive near you. So stop apologizing, stop shrinking, stop delaying. This is your final wake-up call. The line has been drawn in blood, and you don't get to straddle the fence. You're either building the kingdom or aiding the collapse. There is no neutral in a war for souls. You think you're waiting for a sign? This is the sign. You think you need permission? This is the permission. You think you need more confirmation? Here it is. Now go. Roar with a voice forged in prayer. Walk like one who has seen the throne room. Move like one who carries the king's decree. You are not a broken vessel. You are a burning torch. You are a breaker of chains, a warrior of intercession, a trumpet in a sleeping land. Hell hopes you stay quiet. Darkness bets on your delay. But heaven has placed its fire in your bones. Let it out. If this pierced your soul and you're still not subscribed, ask yourself, what else has to fall apart before you rise? If this didn't move you, then what will? And if it did, don't scroll past it. Don't numb it with another reel. Don't silence it with busyness. Act, because hell shakes when you move. Demons scatter when you obey. Generations shift when you step forward. So move, now. Or comment below and tell us, why won't you?